Hello and welcome to the Busy Webinar. For today, we're going to be talking about customizing your WordPress theme. I'm Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Delighted to have you with us today. And let's get right down to business. We're going to go through just a few things, and then I'm going to get into a little bit of a admin area for us to tell you how to get online and ask questions, because this is always about you as much as it is about us. So we'll talk a little bit about BizzyWeb, and then we're going to go into a brief tutorial on how to ask questions via Google Hangouts. If you're on Google Hangout already, and I see a bunch of folks are already watching, thank you very much. Inside of the viewer window for the Hangout today, you should be able to ask questions, and I'm watching those questions as we go. So this is going to be an interactive session designed around your questions. We're going to go through how to customize your WordPress theme. So if you have thoughts or suggestions about any of the following, be sure to have those questions at the ready. We're going to talk about how to choose a theme, including how to find a mobile responsive design and what's available, and just common elements of a good theme. And then we're going to talk about how to get started setting up your theme, including how to play it safe, how to develop your website, how to update your theme without breaking anything on your site. And then we'll talk through the theme customizer, how to make changes to your website theme using that tool in WordPress 4.0 and higher. And then we'll talk about widgets, how to use those, how to manage them and maintain them, and how to go ahead and keep copies of your work without while modifying widgets so that you don't lose any work. We'll go through Q&A and have tech support at the end of the meeting. And then I do have a special announcement and a special invitation for all of our clients coming up here towards the end of the call. I'll quick jump ahead on that. And if you're available this Friday, February 13th, and you're in the Twin Cities area, we'd love for you to stop by for our client appreciation event from 2 to 5 at the BizzyWeb offices. And you can find us right at BizzyWeb.com and then look under contact to find us. But we're right in Champlin, Minnesota, just 15 minutes outside of downtown Minneapolis, and right off of Highway 169. We're hard to miss, big, beautiful building, and would love to see you. All right, so brief moment to get you excited and updated on how to get to this Q&A tool. So if you've gotten to the Busy Webinar by clicking here, going into this page, or going in through the event calendar and clicking on the event page, you'll notice that under number 1, there's a link to Google+. If you click on the Google+ page, that's going to take you to this page. And from this page, it says Q&A and live. You're probably already watching this live, either embedded or on this page. If you would like to ask questions, the thing that you need to do is click on this one to have it open up a screen. I'm going to mute myself so I don't show up here. But once you do, you'll note that there's a sidebar along the side that says Ask a New Question. So if you click that green Ask a New Question button, you can ask your question, and I'll type Ask Your Question. I'll spell it right, question here. And then you hit Enter, and it'll show up. I'll be able to mark when I'm answering specific questions, and that'll be saved for the rest of the event. And then after we're done in YouTube, this will actually show up as well. So make sure to keep your questions PG-13 and keep them out there for us. I will be monitoring that as we go, but that's how to do it. One word of caution, you do need to be logged in with your Google+ account, ideally, or at least your Google account. So if you have a Gmail account, that'll be the one that you'll want to log in with. But go ahead and ask those questions as we go, and we'll be walking through that. I'll be watching for questions as I deliver the presentation today. So let's get right into it. BizzyWeb, of course, is an online marketing company that focuses on web design, specifically WordPress, web hosting, and we have our Busy hosting programs that are just fantastic and designed to keep you up and running and give you the support that you need to manage and maintain your site. But then through our Buzz Builders online marketing programs, we also offer email marketing, social media, and online advertising to all of our clients. We're a digital marketing agency that can help you with anything that you need online. Would love to talk to you about that so we can help you generate buzz without getting stung. Hey, let's get into our content today and talk to you about how to customize your theme. I am going to take a little bit of time, and we're going to switch over to the Google Chrome window to go through this in more detail. So if I'm going very high level, I'm going to skip across the main parts, and then we're going to skip back and forth between the deck presentation so that you can see some of this in action. First, when you're choosing a theme, the big thing that you want to search for and think about is you want to make sure that your site is mobile responsive. That'll be a keyword that you'll see in any theme download. Most of the good themes out there and the theme factories out there already feature and highlight mobile responsive themes. The easiest way to see if your theme or the demo theme is mobile responsive is simply to switch into Google Chrome or your browser of choice. And for example, if we go into the BizzyWeb design that I'm going to be demoing today, I'm going to go into the actual theme. If we click on this, if I grab this window and I literally just make it skinnier, you can see it redevelop itself on the fly. So that's how mobile responsive themes work. They actually reconfigure themselves by the screen width that it's being presented on. So it doesn't matter if it's Android or iPhone or iPad or a tablet or a PC, or if the PC is running at some crazy obnoxious wide angle. You can get the content delivered in the best possible way for that specific format. So that's mobile responsive. Make sure that you're doing that, and then go for function and customization. Every theme that you look at should offer and advertise custom navigation, and should be able to use the navigation format or the nav bar format or menus in WordPress. And it should also offer widgets. And we'll talk a little bit more about widgets on a couple of slides. But widgets make your website theme, your design, simple to update after you've launched the design. So if you wanted to have, instead of development in this space, if you wanted to have this talk about email marketing or whatever the three things that you do are, you can change those up on the fly without affecting anything else on your website if you've chosen a great theme. Our favorite themes are done by Genesis at StudioPress. BizzyWeb actually designs custom themes on top of the Genesis framework, and that's what we mainly do with our clients. But if you're looking for a great way to get started, or if you're on an extremely tight budget, going to StudioPress, you can buy a theme and the framework for StudioPress for under 150 bucks. It's all a matter of what you want to do from there, of course, that'll get you to that next step. And I would recommend, at a minimum, if you're going to do this, to work with someone that can help you and guide you along in the process, like BizzyWeb, of course. So here's how to get started. First, play it safe. And if you have an existing design on your website that you're tinkering with, be sure to run a backup before messing with your site's design. If you're already hosted with BizzyWeb, which I certainly hope you are, we already have installed Backup Buddy on your website. And that's one of the things that we use to keep all of our sites backed up and secure. And so run a backup and download a hard copy or download a offline copy of that backup, just to make sure that everything looks fine. That way, if something does get screwy, you can simply go back to that backup. And you can call up BizzyWeb, for example, if you are having issues. So if you have Backup Buddy on your site, if you don't, you can download Backup Buddy. If you're working with some other web design company or some other web host that doesn't offer online backups, just go ahead and download Backup Buddy. I think it's like a $30 to $50 fee to get it for yourself. Or again, if you're hosting with BizzyWeb, that's included in the suite of tools that we have installed on all of our designs. The best step, in my opinion, if you're going to develop a theme and you have an existing design, is to create a development site for you. What happens with that, if you hire BizzyWeb to handle this for you, for a one-time cost of $300, we'll create a temporary development site and duplicate all of the content and design of your existing site over onto your new website or onto your development site. We'll also install the theme that you're looking for. If you've purchased one separately, we'll help you with that. If it's a Genesis or StudioPress theme, we have developers licenses for that. Probably easier for you to work directly with us if you're a BizzyWeb client already, and cheaper in the long run as far as your time and effort. But if you're a DIYer, the easiest way to do this is to create a copy of your website that you can hack at and work on and get perfect. And then as soon as you're completely happy with it, then you simply call BizzyWeb and we will reinstall that theme or that design over the top of your existing website. So we'll make your development site the active site, and then you'll have no downtime, nothing will look weird, and you won't have risked breaking your existing website inside of that. So for that one-time fee, it's just cheap insurance to make sure that your site continues to work. And if you do that, you can work safe and fast and have us do all the heavy lifting of migrating things back and forth. It's a very, very sweet deal to get you up and online and to make sure everything's safe. That said, there are certainly ways that you can modify and adjust, especially if you're a big risk taker, if you know what you're doing. Making those small changes it's not a big deal. But if you do, in order to be safe, again, make small changes and look at your theme on multiple devices so that you're sure that it looks good on iPhones and Androids, tablets and PCs, and different versions of PC browsers like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, before you commit your final changes and before you go live. That's another benefit of having a development site, because you can test all of those in real time without worrying about your site looking weird on those devices. And finally, make sure that you back up at every major step. That's to avoid rework. If you make a backup before you do any changes, you get 85% of the way there on your design, and then you click the button and you goof something up, but you haven't made any backups, then you're going to lose all of that work that you just spent so much time doing. So make sure that you're running backups on your site design as you go live. Now, I wouldn't do that every 5 minutes, and I would keep and commit. I would only bother keeping 1 or 2 versions of that full backup, but make sure that you're running a full backup, not just a database backup. And if your web host advertises online backups of software, make sure that it's the right kind of backups, because a lot of times when GoDaddy or 1&1 say backups, what they mean is that their server is backed up. And if you have a problem with your individual website, you're kind of SOL. If you try and roll something back, they would have to roll back the entire server. And for cut rate hosting, a lot of times your server or your website is hosted on a shared server that shares several dozen to several hundred other websites. They're obviously not going to break all of those other websites or roll back everybody else. So make sure that you're actually getting your website backed up in a unique backup system, and Backup Buddy is one of the best ways to do that. All right, let's start talking into the nuts and bolts. If you're going to edit your theme, first what you need to do is get logged into the dashboard of the website, and then you can go down the left-hand side of your site to check out the theme customizer. Now, this will be inside the appearance pane of your website or of your dashboard, and then it'll just say customize. So you go to appearance and then customize, and then you'll see something that looks sort of like the screenshot that I have inside of here. This is the demo theme that I'll be walking us through today, but everything's in one spot in the customization options inside of this customize. Now, it's not everything that you can possibly do, and sometimes there are things that you need to do on top of that to make things look just perfect. And frankly, that's when you need to call a professional and ask BizzyWeb or your trusted web developer to help you. Make sure that you preview things, and the nice thing about the new WordPress theme customization tool is that you can look at these theme updates without having them actually affect your site. So what you would do once you're ready and once you're happy with these design changes is you would click Save and Publish, and it'll actually make those changes live for you. Very slick, very easy, but the trick is it's all or nothing, and there's no undo. So if you're going to make that commitment, if you have a very small website, or if you don't have any content on your website, or your site is brand new, certainly there's nothing to lose by just going at it full tilt. But if you have a lot of dependencies, or your website looks or has a number of pages, or certainly a number of different tools, make sure that you're being careful. And with the theme customizer, It's all or nothing, so you're going to want to do this several times. I wouldn't try to do all of the edits to your entire site all in one fell swoop, because if you click save and something errors, then you've lost all that work again. So make sure that you take this in itty bitty bites and make sure that you're making changes safely and quickly. Preview as you go, and then to commit those changes again, you hit that blue button. So let me actually demo this for you just briefly. I'm going to go into the back end of the theme. So once I get into my theme, I would go down to Appearance and then Customize. And from the Theme Customizer, I'll simply click inside of here, and then note that it says Saved right now. Now, if I wanted to change the name of this theme, so if I wanted to change this text, I can just delete that, and then you'll note that it's updating this on the fly, live on the site. So I can change that. That doesn't actually change anything in this design because the design's not set to use that site tagline. But what this tagline does is it goes up in the title of the website and shows you that little bit of extra. So inside of there, I've changed that. And then if I wanted to change colors, I can select this. I can make background changes, go into something red. As you can see, you can get pretty ugly pretty fast. So you want to make sure that you're being careful on this. And note that now that I've started making changes, it's going to go to Save and Publish. If I wanted to change the header image, now this site currently doesn't have a header image option for it, so I'd be able to just drag that in. Let's see if we have anything in the media library. Something smallish. If we go like this and see what this does, select and crop. This is automatically going to give me the right size for this one. I'm going to click Crop Image, and then it puts it up on the top. That's added it to the left hand of the site, or to the middle actually of the header. So I don't want to know if I want to do that. So I'm going to hide image, and then it's going back to Executive Pro. So that's how that's going to work. And then I can go into background image. And if I wanted to have a background image, that goes into this white space that turned different colors when I was messing with the colors. Navigation lets me select the navigation menu. So if I wanted to have a secondary nav instead of primary navigation, if I wanted to add one on here, that's how that would work. So primary navigation is this one, secondary navigation is this one. And again, it's starting to goof up. So you can see where there's some issues and where you would want to have a test version of your website so that you can tinker with this without adversely affecting your site. Now note, I've made a bunch of changes already. I did not save and publish these changes. So if I wanted to back out of these changes, I have to quit and lose all of my changes to go back to the last saved version. I'm going to go back, and it's going to even warn me and say, leave this page. Yes, I do want to leave this page because I don't want to break my beautiful theme. So I'm going to go back into Customize again, and we're back where we started. So we're at Executive Pro theme. We can add up and change the navigation again. You can edit your widgets live inside of this page. And with widgets, it's a little bit of an interesting thing. I'm going to talk in more detail about widgets in the next section. But when you go into your widgets, they're usually, if your theme is well developed, they're usually labeled in a common sense kind of format. So header right, as we would figure, that's going to be up in the right hand corner. There's a custom menu in the header right. Right now it's the primary navigation. If I wanted to select secondary navigation instead, that's going to change it to these categories because that's what I had set up for secondary navigation in the WordPress menus section, which I'll demo again very briefly in a moment. You can edit your menus. So I could just create a menu inside of WordPress, save it with whatever name I wanted, and then I could select in this theme what I wanted to have show up in my header right. And actually, if I make this a little bit smaller, you'll see that it actually is header right. This had squished down so skinny that it was actually going into a mobile responsive version already, which is why this showed up over here. So that's how I would modify that. If I wanted to have something else in my in my widgets, I can click, or in my upper right, I can click Add a Widget, and then I get all of the widget offerings that are available For ease of use, I'm just going to include text, and then it's going to ask me for the formatting of that particular widget. So I'm just going to go with test widget and text here. And note that it comes up with test widget, text here. That's really kind of goofy, so I don't want to keep that. I'm going to delete this now in order to not have it show up. Now, one drawback of this method of editing widgets is that there's no way to drag the widget that you're working with into a saved version and save it for later. So I'll show you how to do that in the next section. I'm just going to click delete for now. That goes away and my design continues to look beautiful. But then inside of the home slider, right now you can see that there's a responsive slider. That's this section of the site. If I were to change that, that's where I would go to do that. And I could title this something if I wanted to. Different widgets have different options available to them depending on the person that authored the widget. Home top, there's Genesis featured page development, design, and consulting. So this is the home top section. If I wanted to change the title of the development one and say web development, for example, I would click that and automatically updates it. Now note, I've typed this in lowercase, but it's showing up in all caps. That's a feature of the design. If you wanted to change that, you would need to go into the actual CSS of the theme or modify and create a text widget completely on your own. You can see how this would get out of the casual hobbyist's depth pretty easily, but there's certainly a bunch of things that you can do, which is what I wanted to demo for you. So I select what page this is going to be on the web development page. So if I, for example, wanted to change this to environment, that shows up instead. And looks like I'm still calling it web development. You'll notice that this is actually a different page. If I go back to development, note when I change this, this image is going to change. The text actually changed as well, but the text on this test website is the same across everything, so you can't really tell that. If I did not want to show a featured image, I could unclick that and the featured image goes away. And then if I wanted to show the page title, I could select that. In this case, it says development and it shows up underneath. I don't think I want to do that. I do say show page content in here. I'm going to hide the show page title and I'm going to hide show page content for a second. And then of course the content disappears on that site, but I can add it back in by clicking show page content. And then if I wanted more characters to show up, I could do 150, for example, and then it would show a little bit more. Now I'm keeping this the same across all of my windows so that everything looks about the same. One note on the character limit is that it's an inexact science at best. Sometimes, and if I were to count this out, this is not exactly 140 characters. What WordPress seems to do inside of these widgets and when you're doing the content characters is it's more just going by the amount of space that you have. And so if you're trying to get it to a specific word or to have it show only a little bit of something and you wanted to say exactly what you wanted it to do or what you wanted it to feature, then another option might be to just add a text widget underneath here and actually create it. One note, and it's highlighting over this, it says shift click to edit this widget. You can just simply browse around and do that. So if I shift clicked to edit a widget, I could simply make that change inside of here. Note that it's popping up to this widget now that I'm in this section, and an easier way to get in there again. I can set my image alignment. If I set none, it just shows up on top. If I wanted it to be left, it would go like this. But again, this image is wide, so it's just going to show up at the whole size. If I wanted to go to a thumbnail, to a smaller image, then it'll show up in a 150 square. So different formats, different options. We'll go back to featured, and we're going to go back to none so that I don't goof up the site. You can also change what the text is. So let's get going with an exclamation point. That's what it shows, and that's what it changes. As soon as I'm done again, I would hit save and publish, but I don't necessarily want to do that here. One other note, I'm going to go back inside of here. If I wanted web development to be on the right side instead of on the left, I could click the reorder button. And what that's going to do is pop up a bunch of images inside of here. And so if I wanted this one to show up, this middle one, design, to show up to the left, I would simply move this up the list. And now it's switched design to the left over here. If I wanted consulting to show up in the middle, I would bump it up one. Consulting is just moved. If I wanted it on the far left, I could drag it here. You can also drag them up and down to exactly where you want them. Again, I am not going to save this, so it's not a big deal. One nice feature of this widget or this theme is that it has a really neat call to action banner. If I have a call to action inside of here, it shows up with that call to action banner text. I've set this up so that it's simple text for the contact, and it's grabbed a button inside of here. This is where you might need to talk to a developer in order to make those changes. But inside of here, I can just call it what I want it to be. And so call to action, instead of banner, I can just switch it to call to action. If I didn't want this to show up, I can simply remove this widget, and this entire black bar goes away. So I'm going to remove this, and now that entire thing is gone. So now all of a sudden I have 6 things down the middle without anything else. If I wanted to get that back, I would simply add a widget, and now I have to redo the text because I just lost that one. It went away inside of here. So my best bet is to just go back and not change this and X out, because I really don't want to mess up this theme. So I'm going to leave this page. I've not saved anything inside of here. So now if I go back into customize again, all of my content should show back up. So call to action's back, everything's in. Note that since I didn't save it, I didn't lose any of I didn't make any of those changes, but also all of that work that I did is now gone, which is one of the drawbacks of working in the theme editor. I can also adjust color scheme because that's built into this theme. If I wanted to go Executive Pro Brown, for example, all of the text colors change to brown, all the navigation changes to brown. Again, this is built into the design of the theme, which is why it's important to have a great theme at the outset. The more options and information you have inside of your design, the better everything's going to look, and the better it's all going to work. Other things inside of here, site layout, you can tell what you want for the default layout for every page. Content and primary sidebar is what I'm choosing. I can also choose primary sidebar and content, which puts the sidebar on the left, or full width content. And again, that's just default. I can turn on or off breadcrumbs inside of here. If I turn on breadcrumbs on the home page, it just says you are here. And then if we were on a sub page, like if we were here on home sample page, subpage 1.1, that would show up inside of there. I'm not a big fan of breadcrumbs, especially on the home page, so I'd remove that. And then I can also set up comments and trackbacks, content archive, and so on and so forth. So that's very quickly a very quick kind of overview on how those work. Let's switch back over and hit the next thing, widgets. So inside of the actual widget bar, you can see, and actually I need to close this out. Let's click here and then go back. If you want to edit your widgets and be able to save them for later, you need to go in a slightly different way and go in through appearance and widgets. It looks slightly different. You get all of the available widgets and all of the inactive widgets, which is the important part. And then you don't have a visual way to see what's happening inside of there. You kind of have to set it and then go back. If you have a big screen on your computer, I find it helpful to have my website live in one window and my widgets active, or my active widgets, in another window. And then I can make a change to the widgets and hit refresh on my browser window and see what those changes were. Widget changes do happen in real time, so you need to be careful with this. Everything that you do shows up live, whether you can see it or not, in that window. So make sure that you have 2 windows open, or make sure that you're working in a development environment and not on a live website, or that you're okay with the website not showing up for a while. Another way that you can get around this, by the way, is to set up an under construction plugin that shows essentially a "we're down for maintenance" message or some design that you've set up. And in various cases, when we built websites for our clients, especially if they don't have any other website available or up, we'll create a simple under construction page with their logo on it and their contact information, and perhaps even an online form. And when you use a tool like that, when you're logged in as an administrator, you can see the design. But if you're not logged into the website, you simply see that under construction page. So that's a simple and easy way to do it. And I'm going to, again, click back over to the demo for this so that you can see what that looks like. Again, I'm going to X out. I've made a few changes, so it's going to ask me if I'm positive, and of course I am. So then I'm going to go to Appearance and then Widgets. If I'm in Widgets, which is where I am right here, now I can do the same things that I was doing inside of that section. So if I wanted to get rid of that call to action, I would drag this down into inactive widgets. This is the important part in working with widgets. If I want to save this for later, I need to drag it into inactive widgets to keep the settings. It says that right here. So drag widgets here to remove them from the sidebar, but keep their settings. So that's important, because if I just dragged it out and dropped it, I would lose that widget and its settings, and I would have to set it up all over again. So I've gone in, I've done that. Now again, I visit my site to see what it looks like. And inside of my site, that bar is gone. If I go back to widgets and I drag that call to action banner back in, I can see it, and I didn't make any other changes. All I did was drag it in. Now if I hit refresh, that call to action bar is now back. So you see what I mean, that the edits and the changes get made in real time on the widget pane. So if you're inside of here and you're editing in widgets, that's what happens. One final thing, you can also edit menus inside of Appearance and then Menus. If I go into Menus, you'll note that there are two different navigation bars that we were looking at before. There's primary and secondary navigation. If I wanted to create a new menu, I would simply go into create a new menu, and we can call this, we can give it a name, and it would be test menu short. I would go down the list. Inside here, I need to click create menu, and then I would go down the list and just grab the pages that I want. I want my contact page, I want development, consulting, and design. I'm going to add those to the menu. It drags them over to the right. If I want contact to be on the top, I would simply drag it to where I want it. If I want a page to be a sub page of the main page, I would simply drag it to the right. And if I wanted a page to be a sub page of a sub page, I would drag it under that page as well. So this would be a sub page of design, and this would be a sub page of consulting. You can do that a few levels deep. It's up to the theme as to how many you can do, and it'll lock you out on that. If you wanted new pages to get automatically added on the top level, you can click this box. I don't recommend that usually, because if you're setting up a page, you probably want to decide where you put it instead of just going crazy. And so if I click Save Menu now, I can go back into my Customize. And if I'm in Customize, I can look at, again, navigation. And then I can support, or I can choose which menu I want. So now all of a sudden I have Test Menu Short available. And then for Test Menu Short, that shows up right here. If I wanted to get rid of the other one, I could put it in there. And actually, this is showing up. It should be under Select. I should get rid of that, because where that actually is inside of the widgets, and it's in header right, custom menu. And so I can select a different menu. If I wanted Test Menu Short inside of here, that goes to our short one with only 3. Again, I'm going to click out of this, X out, so that I don't make these changes, because I like the way my theme looks. And that is theme customization in a nutshell. Love to keep this brief for you and encourage you again to ask questions. So if you do have those questions, make sure that you go to the Google window and click the green button to ask a question on how to do these things. Let's get back into the presentation to finalize things for you here. We just took you through the demo. Would like to talk very briefly with a special announcement. As of yesterday, BizzyWeb acquired Technic Creative's web design and hosting business. So for any folks that are from Technic Creative or that have come from Nick Rosner, would love to welcome you to the BizzyWeb family. And we're excited and delighted to have you with us. And we're going to take very, very good care of you. We have some really special things in plan for our Technic clients. And we're looking forward to bringing everyone under the same roof in the near future. But for now, nothing's changing for our Technic clients and friends. So if you were hosted with Technic, your server stays the same. Everything looks the same. Everything acts the same. You'll notice as of today that instead of the Technic logo, BizzyWeb's logo is at the top, and all of the contact information is now changed to BizzyWeb, so you're talking to us. And now you have a dedicated team of folks to help you with any questions that you have, so go ahead and get a hold of us at any time. We also do have a special client appreciation event this Friday from 2 to 5 at BizzyWeb, so I would encourage everyone that's online to go ahead and give us a call or to stop by. If you have tech support issues, we're actually going to be doing free tech support during that time. Anything that we can do during that time, realizing that there may be several dozen people there at the same time. So whatever we can get to, we'd love to help you with, but your mileage may vary. We'll be delighted to have you with us. This is kind of a Valentine's Day themed thing. So the theme is we love our clients. Would love to see you there. Also, in summary, this overview on what BizzyWeb does. If this seemed complicated to you, or if you want to do it right from the get-go and make sure that you're actually getting what you need done. We talked about how to edit a theme, but we didn't talk about how to get the calls to action that really matter for your business, or how to drive leads through your website, how to do the things that really are going to make a difference in growing your business. If you're having that conversation, then we should talk about doing a real design for you. And our packages are very cost competitive, and we have plans of all sorts to help make this available and affordable for everyone. We also do web hosting. And so if you're interested in having web hosting where we automatically update your server and keep everything backed up for you on a regular basis, scan for malware, make sure that your website's up, and make sure that everything's safe and secure, as well as adding our proprietary blend of plugins that we have development licenses for, would love to have you with us. The big kicker on this is that we include 3 hours of service and support for any technical things that aren't development and design related. So if it involves us modifying code or changing CSS or HTML, then we're talking about development, and that's not counted in the support. But if you need help with modifying widgets or remembering how to do something or revisiting the settings on your theme, that's what that support 3 hours is for. We also do online marketing. So if you need help with constant contact, getting email marketing up and going for you, online advertising, content writing and building, or just creating a common sense marketing strategy for you, BizzyWeb can help you through that. And then, of course, reminder to join us every Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the 18th, we're going to be talking about how to create offers and promotions to drive business for your business. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about social media advertising. So how to advertise on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google AdWords in order to get the best results possible for your business. Reminder again that this Friday, we are having a customer appreciation event. And so we'd love to have you here. If you've missed one, or if you want to talk about anything under the sun, just go to BizzyWeb.com/events. If you look backwards in time, you'll see all of the existing presentations that we've offered, and you can just browse right through those in that event. And you can check out, like last week, we talked about email marketing for success. If you want to do that, just click on the link and you'll be able to watch that right from that page. You can also go to YouTube and search for BizzyWeb, and you'll find all of our webinars there too. Finally, if you would like a free SEO analysis for your website, This is an example of what it looks like. We'll show you what you can do better in order to rank on your website for Google. Includes sites tips, recommendations, analytics, what you're missing, what images are broken, what you can fix, and how your content on your website could be improved. 20 plus pages of fantastic information that you can use to improve your site. If you go to BizzyWeb.com/buzz, that will be the way to collect that report. This is available to folks that have filled out this analysis or filled out the request form, and available exclusively to folks at BizzyWebinars. So would love to have you fill that out. We'll ship you that report, and if you'd like us to talk through it, we can as well. But that'll give you great offers and opportunities to take it to the next level. And you can take that to whoever you're currently working with. And if you're working with BizzyWeb, we'll help you get to the next step. Again, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Don't see any questions, which either means that I've done a great job or everybody's shy today. Would love to have you ask those questions. If you're feeling shy and do want to just talk to us, you can give us a call at the number on the screen at 612-424-9990, or you can send a note to sales@BizzyWeb.com or support@BizzyWeb.com if you're a BizzyWeb client, and we'd love to help you. So give us a call, give us a holler, or go to BizzyWeb.com/buzz for that free SEO analysis. Would love to see you here on Friday, or we'll see you at our next Busy Webinar, and be sure to register in advance at BizzyWeb.com/events. I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Thank you so very much for joining us. And remember, at BizzyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a great week.